because we've been working on this topic for a month now, at least. The tefillin, and I want to put a nice bow on it before we move on to another tefillin topic. Okay, so let's start with the Ben Ish Chai. I already rolled to the page for you. The Ben Ish Chai says, "Kifi said that Rabbi Hinot." We're on page 16 in the middle. Kifi said that Rabbi Hinot ha'iyonot shiromizim lahem hasisit v'tefillin. According to the Kabbalistic remezim and the mystical things we want to do in the heavens with sisit and tefillin. Really, sisit and tefillin should be two separate things. I mean, they're both written in Shema. Talit. The Fi Kabbalah says the Ben Ish Chai, if you want to do the right seder, sisit has to come first. If you put tefillin before you talit, you're making a big mistake, says the Ben Ish Chai. That's how we do it. Yeah. And after a guy like this, who puts his tefillin first and his talet second, it says, Batad de kashishna le dardeki. Who knows what that means? Batad de kashishna le dardeki. It's Aramit. Kashisha means zaken, and dardeki is a younger person. So if you put the sisit after the tefillin, it's like putting the young person. It's putting the young person before the old person. You did it already. But you should put the talit first. We need to put Pi Kabbalah. The poskim atzu siman l'seder, and they made a siman. Ve'ayu ha'atufim leLavan. I love this remez. They made a hint in the pasuk. Where's this pasuk? Moshe, where's this pasuk? Ve'ayu ha'atufim leLavan. This is by the sheep. When Yaakov Avinu is with Lavan, so the striped sheep went to Yaakov. First he made to Lavan. So it's in the pasuk. The stripes were to the Lavan. Atufim means to wrap Lavan in white, which is sisit. And then you tie the kishurim to Yaakov, just like the pasuk says. I love this. Got it, Uncle Jack? First, Laban got the striped sheep, which is your talit, which is striped also a lot of times with white stripes, it's Sephardi, and goes to the Laban in the white. And then the kishurim le'Yaakov. The kishurim was spotted. Kishurim, tying tefillin. It's more hashuv. The tefillin, I mean, it's an ot. You want to put it first, the tefillin. Right, so that's why the Ben Ish Chai is going out of his way right now to say, don't make a mistake, put the sisit first. Odamnu sof sisit, taf, shehu rosh tevat tefillin. Sisit ends with taf. So first do the sisit, and then the taf, tefillin. That's how you should remember it. V'alken sisit rashet tibot, siva Hashem sisit yanihu techila. Sisit, sadi, Yod, Sadi, Yod is Yod, Vav, Yod and He and Vav and He, right?
But he said Siva.
Hashem, he doesn't want to write Hashem's name. It's Yod. Hashem's name starts with Yod. Ken, Siva. Ken. So, then the He is Hashem. So the Shet was Sisit stands for Siva, Hashem, Sisit. Hashem commanded Sisit. Yanihu Tehila. You should always put Sisit first. ובספרי הקטן רב פעמים כתבתי בתשובה דאב היה לובש תפילין בלי תלקדות, דלא היה לו. There was a father who wore tefillin with no talit, because he didn't have a talit. ואחר כך הביאו לו את הטלית, like Itai, you see? And then they brought him the talit. צריך שיחלוץ התפילין. The Ben Ish Chai says, take the tefillin off and put it back on.
Do we hold like that?
But you don't put it in the beracha, no beracha on the second time you put it on. But you don't have to do this. This is the Ben Ish Chai. I'm not saying this is mandatory halacha. But the Ben Ish Chai is saying keep the order. Ben Ish Chai is very Kabbalistic.
So if you put by mistake and then you put the talit,
you're okay for sure, but if you're the Ben Ish Chai, if you want to do the right mystical stuff, then you want to put it in order. Okay. I don't know the reason. Ari, you know the reason why Ashkenazim don't put talit until they're married?
But they put on tefillin.
Yeah.
So that.
I don't know the reason. I don't know.
The Yankees do it like so.
Oh, Yankees do it.
Yankees do.
Right.
I honestly don't know the reason. Anybody here know the reason? You know the reason?
So you know who's single, so you can find.
Is that why? You know who's single?
Who's available?
Okay. Now, let's do a quick.
should buy the talit for the Hatan.
And in the meantime, you missed out on the mitzvah of tzitzit every single day. Okay, let's do FCC Katan. Let's do a wrap up because we had a couple of requests. So many halachot have been flying around for the past 4 weeks. Let's wrap up the halachot. This is halacha l'ma'aseh p'macham Yitzchak Yosef. Yilkut Yosef. If you follow Hakam Ovadia Yosef, which you should, you're in good hands. If you follow the old Syrian guy in the corner of the room, go check with the other old Syrian guy in the other corner of the room who argues with him, and you're in big trouble. So if you want to follow Hakam Ovadia, that's the way to do it. Right, David? Right? Minhag hachamim lenashek hatefillin. So what were we talking about? Mordechai, what were we talking about? We were talking about not having any delays between the yad and the rosh. We were talking about this for the past couple of weeks. You gotta be right away. Yad, rosh. No talking, no motioning, no gesturing, not even according to the Ariza, according to Mashal Haruch. Not even the straps. According to Mashal Haruch, don't even put the straps. Do the arm, put the rosh. No, right? You got that? Lefim Mashal Haruch, the Mechaber, don't put the straps on the arm until after the rosh is on. We don't hold this halakha, we hold like the Ariza. Ariza says you gotta do the straps. We want to minimize. So what about kissing the tefillin? Is that going to take an extra second? Huh? Maran says don't put these straps until after the rosh. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, no? When did we say this? Last week. Last week. Maran Haruch says don't even put the straps. Put this. I think we did. Guys, we talked about it, no?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, but the Arizal says you should. What about kissing the tefillin? Let's see. Minhag ha'hakamim lenashek tefillin b'sha'at hanahatan. It's the minhag of the hachamim to kiss the tefillin when they put them on. Look at the brackets. Lo ben tefillin shel yad l'tefillin shel rosh. Not between the yad and the rosh. Ela kodem shekoshet the yad. Before you start, kiss the yad. Before the blessing. What about the rosh? Not until you're done. So don't take the extra second, he says, to kiss the rosh. Hold on. It's also minhag of the rabbis to kiss them when you take the tefillin off. Because of the love of the mitzvah. It's good that you yourself fold your tefillin because you love it so much. When you're in a rush to go to learn, or I would say to work, you gotta go. You can give it to another person to fold it. Preferably, he says, Hamid Haq says, you should fold it yourself. In my Sefer, Avodat Ovadia, that I have at home, which is the eyewitness testimony of Chacham Ovadia Yosef from his grandkids, it says, very often he didn't fold his own tefillin. He gave it to an assistant, fold my tefillin for him.
Why do you say it's different?
Why? He's a busy man.
No, more than that.
A little bit busier than us.
I think
Okay, somebody else do the bit
I
of
never knew how much it meant for
That's
them.
what he said.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice.
So thank you to the Chadam.
Don't give it to the Chadami. But if anyone, no one knows the
So
Chadami.
again, kissing the rosh. So kissing the tefillin at the end when
Kiss the
taking them
tefillin
off.
at the end, yes.
Both of them?
At the end, there's no hafsaka
What do
problem.
you mean at the end? What?
When you're taking them off. Oh, you mean after you finish?
No.
When we
I
say
forgot this.
when you say the tefillah, you're gonna say you're gonna do that.
No, but when you take them off, you take off the
When you
first
like
layer,
last week
and
we
then
said
a couple maybe.
when you take them off, you,
And then you take
according to the
them off.
Arizal, you should be standing up when you take the
Right.
finger off, according to the Arizal. And then you take off, according to the Arizal, the arm. According to Mashal Haruch, you don't. So therefore, we compromise, and you take off 2 to 3 straps from the arm.
And then you take
And then
off
you
the
take
rosh.
the head,
Kiss the rosh.
kiss it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's it.
There's no hefsek at the end. It's over.
What do
You
you
already
mean?
did the mitzvah. There's no hefsek. It's done. Finished. It's over.
Maybe if there was a bit of time for taking them off.
Yeah, there's no bad.
But then so both his talit.
It said in the same book, sometimes he let his other people, his attendants vote. Yeah. God forbid it brings poverty, but it just says he let people, but maybe like they're saying. Imagine.
So why they take off here and they say that's it?
When?
When you're taking them off,
We
you say take off couple, 2 or 3.
Take 2 or 3 straps.
Say why?
Because according to the Arizal, you should take off the whole arm before the rosh.
Right.
But we can't take off the arm before the rosh. So we compromise. Okay, guys, let's go forward. We're on page 17. When you tie the string around the wrap around your finger, like we said, the Pida Arizal said, Tov shikar, how do you pronounce this word? Shikarchena kishu omer. You should be standing up when you do the finger. The finger, according to the Arizal, is tied to the Rosh. So if you stand up for the Rosh, stand up for the finger. When you take off the Rosh standing up, you take off the finger standing up. It's very linked to the Rosh, according to the Arizal. Okay, now, let's move on.
You're already there. You're already up anyway.
Yeah, just make sure you do that before you sit down, according to the Arizal. Okay, let's see the Ben Ish Chai. Now we're going to morph a little bit from, so again, halakha l'ma'aseh, guys, if we can have like a 30-second halakha l'ma'aseh, I don't want anyone to have the wrong idea of all the things we've been doing for the past 2-3 weeks. Don't talk between the Rosh, the Yad, and the Rosh. If you talked between the Yad and the Rosh, it depends what you said. Did you talk nonsense? If you talk nonsense, hey, Avi, you're just in time. We're doing a wrap-up of all the laws before we go forward. Yeah, we're waiting for you. After you put the Yad, Avi, after the Tefillin of Yad, before you put the Rosh, you can't talk. If you did talk, do you make another blessing? It depends what you said. If you said, how'd Trump do? Why Trump skipped the debate or whatever? How he didn't, DeSantis, if you said nonsense, then you got to make a blessing. Asher kedeshanu, be'mitzvot al misvat tefillin. Do you answer a Kaddish or Amen in between the Yad and the Rosh? Do you answer Amen?
Yeah.
Kaddish? No. We do not answer anything. You don't talk between the Yad and the Rosh.
You also have to say it.
No. So if you spoke nonsense, then you have to make a blessing on the Rosh.
Okay.
If you answered Kaddish, which you are not supposed to do, since you were involved in Tefillah and the Kiddusha, you shouldn't have done this. You don't make another beracha on the Rosh. This is halakha l'ma'aseh.
And if you're talking about tefillin,
Ma? You cannot answer Kaddish. You can't.
Right.
You cannot answer Kaddish. So the halakha we read last week says you're not supposed to motion and gesture, but in this situation, tell the guys, wait for me, like this. If you answer Kaddish, you shouldn't have, but you don't make him another blessing. This is the halakha l'ma'aseh.
Should you wait until Kaddish is done to continue? Or should you just continue while Kaddish is going?
You already answered? You already broke it?
No.
What do you walk me through it? What happened?
I put the arm on,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize where they were.
And
They
that Kaddish
started Kaddish now.
Hurry up.
Hurry and do it?
Yeah.
Wait, listen.
Maybe
Kaddish and do it?
no. Maybe you can get your Hishmir Abami Barak if you do it fast in time. So you got the halakha. So you don't get penalized with another blessing.
Just slap the rope.
Now, if you told your friend, hey, is my tefillin good? Hey, passing my tefillin. Something about the tefillin. Also, you don't make another beracha. Why? It's just like bidikat hametz, right? Or like we said, if you washed for bread. If you washed for bread and you go to the table and you want the salt, you don't have to smash the glass or no, you can speak. Pass me the salt. We need the salt. Or bring me the bread. You can speak because it's about the mitzvah. Okay? So if it's about the mitzvah, it's not called a hefsek. You shouldn't speak between the tefillin shel Rosh, Yad and Rosh, but if you did, if it was nonsense, you bless again. Now, this is all Sephardim. Are we clear? Now we're going to go to Ashkenazim.
What about covering the?
Why?
What about covering the?
Hold on.
Thing? Covering the.
Hold on.
Talk about that?
Hold on. Ashkenazim. This is Ashkenaz, which we learned also. According to Ashkenazim, they always make a beracha on the Rosh, whether they talked or they didn't talk. Why? Because they learn the Gemara differently. Sah in, lo sah lo. We learn the Gemara differently. Now, as for Ashkenazim, what if they talked in between the Yad and the Rosh? If an Ashkenaz guy talked between the Yad and the Rosh, he said, what's the difference? I make one blessing anyway, so I can talk all I want. What's the answer? What do you tell Ashkenaz guy if he tells you this?
They mix two brachos.
Yeah, you just say no. If you talk, you got to make 2 blessings on the Rosh. If we talk, we make 1 blessing on mitzvah. Ashkenaz guy who talks, he has to make lehaniyah and al mitzvah on the Rosh. So he's also penalized.
And the first one is beracha b'tah.
The first one is the beracha. I don't know if it was batala, but it was. I don't know how to define it.
Avi's asking what's the stringency about the break between the two.
Okay, so very good. So tefillin, and this is what we're building towards. Tefillin, as we've been saying, is such a unique mitzvah. It's 2 separate mitzvot. The Rambam said straight out, tefillin are 2 separate mitzvot, Rosh and the Yad. However, they're linked together and they have to be as one. And so much so that you can't even talk in between. The Lubavitcher Rebbe is going to talk about this concept. So we'll get to that in 1 second.
Wouldn't talking actually separate them more?
We don't want to talk. Yeah, don't talk.
But you're saying they're two
They're
distinct.
two separate, but we want them as together as possible. Now, if you only have one tefillin, what do? You don't have the other one. The other pair you lost. The other half you lost. The other half is being fixed. You only have the rosh. You put the rosh. Why? Because it's a separate mitzvah. If you only have the yad, you put the yad. If you have the rosh, what do you make a beracha? Al mitzvah tefillin. If you only have the rosh. If the Ashkenaz has the rosh, what does he make? Both. If the Ashkenaz has the rosh, he makes both. Okay, now.
If he doesn't have the hand.
If he doesn't have the hand, he's going to make both on the rosh.
Oh, both on the
Ashkenaz, not us.
Wow, so it's the same rule.
Same thing for Ashkenazim. We hold you're going to make the one melacha on the rosh. Now, al mitzvah Ashkenazim every single day. Not Chabad. I know Chabad doesn't. I don't know about other Hasidim.
Only the head. So he makes
Two berachot.
He speaks between the brothers.
If you speak, you gotta do two again. Okay, now let's see the Ben Ish Hai. Let's see the Ben Ish Hai, guys.
You know,
Yair, did the food come? Where's Yair?
No.
You ate it all.
Al Yedeh, let's see the Ben Ish Hai, guys. We're on page 17. Al Yedeh atifat talit, by wrapping the talet, nitaken hitzoniyot de olam hayitzira. Now this is going to be very Kabbalistic. There's different worlds in the Kabbalah, as a lot of us know, bless you, right? We have Biriyah, Asiyah, Yitzira, Asiyah. There's different worlds, different spheres in the Kabbalah. Tifil Talet handles the Olam HaYitzira, the world of Yitzira. When you make the Baracha on the Talet, Naase Od Makif, the Olam HaYitzira. You learn Tanya, David. So Od Makif and Od, what's the difference? No, Od Makif is also there. There's two. There's Od Ein Sof and the Od Makif. The Od Makif is the one that goes around. And then there's the Od that goes in. There's two lights.
One inside two.
Yeah. So the Kabbalistically and the so the Lubavitchers learn this every single day. So and it's Kabbalah, it's Zohar, really. There's two lights. There's two Od Ein Sof, the light without an end. That's Hashem's light, spiritual light. It's called Od Makif and Kabbalah. It goes around something. And then there's another light that goes inside something. Okay, so now says the Ben Ish Hai, when you make the blessing on the talet, naaseh od makif de olam hayitzira. You're making the light go around the world of Yitzira. Then when you put the yad on, you get olam ha-bidiyah. Now you're fixing the olam ha-bidiyah now. You already fixed Yitzira. You're moving up to bidiyah. And ayideh beracha naaseh od makif de olam ha-bidiyah. So you make a blessing on the yad. Now you made the light, the Od Makif, around the creation, the world of Bidiyah. Tifin Shel Rosh, Olam HaAtzilut, which is next level higher. You're building up in the world. So now, when you make, do you make a Beracha on the Rosh? So how do you make the light around the Olam HaAtzilut? B'ineh, B'tfilin Shel Rosh, Yesh Omrim Tzarich Beracha, Lebarech Beracha B'fnei Atzma, Kedei La'asot Od Makif, the Olam HaAtzilut. Right? You want to follow the pattern. Talet's going to have you in Olam HaYitzirah, but you need the Beracha to create the Od. And the next level up, the Yad in Olam HaBidiyah, you need the Beracha to create the Od. So Ben Ish Hai is saying, what's creating the Od around the Olam HaAtzilut for the Rosh? So some people say, that's why, one of the reasons Ashkenazim want to bless, he's saying, Kabbalistically. You make a Od Makif around it. Some people say, Atzilut. Yesh Omrim, if you look in your Siddur, guys, when you pray, if you have like a Avodat Hashem or a Siddur like this, or Kavanat Halev, it's going to say, you are now entering Olam HaAtzilut. You are now, it says it also? Okay, there you go. But some people say, the Od Makif, the Olam HaAtzilut, the Od Makif, the light that goes around Olam HaAtzilut, which is a high world, in Banu Koach La'asoto Al Yedenu. We can't even do that anyway. We can't create the Od Ein Sof, the Od Makif in that world. It happens on its own. And therefore, what's the point of blessing? Your blessing is not going to take care of that third level of the world. So don't even bother. The Ashkenazim bless on the Rosh every single day. We hold like the Reef, We only make one beracha on tefillin unless you talk. Ach nechaven beberacha zu. It's good to have kavanah, Shaarey. It's good to have kavanah in this beracha. Al tefillin shel rosh gamkin. Then it's going to be taking care of both the yad and the rosh. Shehu lefanenu b'sha'at beracha al tefillin shel yad. Because the rosh is right there in front of you. So the one beracha is going to handle two. Miu, however, im hifsik bin tefillin shel yad. Tefillin shel rosh. If you spoke between the yad and the rosh. Bidbada hashiv ha'hefsek with the nonsense, which is called a hefsek, a break. Az yibarech, then you have to bless al mitzvah tefillin. V'chen, im en le'adam tefillin shel yad. If you don't have a tefillin shel yad, you only have the rosh. Yibarech alav al mitzvah. V'yaduahu. Ki min hashamayim heshivu l'Rabbeinu Yaakov metar yosh. From Shamayim, maybe in a dream, they answered this rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Matrovish. They answered him in a dream and they said, Be'et piriti akim et Yitzhak. Hashem said to Abraham Avinu, my covenant I will keep with Yitzhak, not with Ishmael, with Yitzhak. Who? Harif, which is Rabbi Yitzhak al-Fasi. So therefore the halakha follows the rif, which means like Sfaradim, only one beracha. Et piriti akim et Yitzhak. And the berit is an ot, and tefillin is an ot. The Brit Milah is an ot, and tefillin is an ot. So ve'epiriti akim et Yitzhak means the covenant, the ot of the tefillin, it goes with Yitzhak, Rabbi Yitzhak al-Fasi, known as the Rif, Sfaradi. Not like the Rosh, who is in the Rabbeinu Tam, who was like Ashkenazi, said the Yitzhak. That's what he says. Yeah. He had a dream. Maybe he was thinking about this sugya. Who's the halakha like? Ashi, Rabbeinu Tam. Rif, Rosh. And he had a dream. Epiriti akim et Yitzhak. Follow the Rif. Only one beracha like Sfaradim. V'gam Rabbeinu Arizal. Lo, even the Arizal, who was Ashkenazi. Lo matzino she'echriya befirush al hasabarot hanizkarot shel Arif ve'hageonim. He didn't make a decision, the Arizal, between beracha and one or two. He mentions the two opinions. And he explains their reasons behind them. However, in the Sefer Priyat Chaim, which is Kabbalistic, and also in the Sefer Olat Tamid, we find the words of the Arizal, one blessing, like the Sfaradim. So now we have the Arizal on our team as well. Okay, now it's time for us to get into the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So this is definitely different than what we've been doing, because we've been learning Gemara and Halakha. Gemara, Rambam, Mara Shoharu, Halakha. But now we've been working so hard at this concept, and we have these questions, like obvious questions. And Moshe was asking me a bunch of times, is it one mitzvah, two mitzvah? It's such a weird, where else, we were talking about this on the way home from Shul, Mordechai. Where else do we find in Judaism two mitzvot with one beracha? Where else do we find this in Judaism? Maror and Karpas. It's where do we find Korech, right? But and we were talking about this on the way home from Shul on Friday night. And I'm like, no, give me something deoraita. Something deoraita. So I mentioned Sukkah to you. I said, Ma? Oh, the driver has a flat tire. Okay. All right. What other mitzvot deoraita? So maybe I was saying to my father-in-law and Mordechai on the way home from Shul Friday night, I was saying maybe Sukkah. The Shir Basukah is covering the sleeping, the eating, but the sleeping, I don't know if it's called deoraita. The eating is deoraita the first night.
The building of it?
So I don't know.
Sukkah is how you interpret the one mitzvah. It's not one mitzvah. It's a one mitzvah. It's not multi-mitzvah.
I agree. If you look in the Sefer HaMitzvot,
here you clearly
right. And if you look in the Sefer HaMitzvot, the Harambam, Sukkah is one mitzvah, right? If you look at the Sefer HaMitzvot, Tefillin is two mitzvot. Lulav is Lulav four separate? Is Lulav four separate mitzvot?
Four parts. It's the one.
But my question is Lulav? Right, that's my question. Is Lulav and Etrog, if you look at Sefer Mitzvot, is it going to be four separate mitzvot? Right, we make the beracha on the Lulav, but my question is, are they, I want two Rambam separate mitzvot. Separate mitzvot. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out myself. And so this is why I want to bring this. So we're going to do a little bit off the thing. We've never done this before.
More correct.
I would if I was in charge, I would hold like the Ashkenazi, honestly.
I mean, it makes
You-
sense.
If you read it, it makes total sense, 100%. Now,
They're saying two things at the same time.
what do you got?
They're saying they're separate, but they're one. They're contradictory statements. If they're truly statements,
Exactly.
then you should
They're
take
separate.
a pause between them, say hello to someone,
So
and then talk to somebody. The pause
Agreed.
separates them.
There was a magical word in Tosafot a few weeks ago. Tosafot said the Rosh is the Gemar mitzvah of the Yad. It's the completion of the mitzvah. Or we had another Lashon, Ikad mitzvah, which means when you put the Yad on, so let's walk. When you put the definition of Yad on, you just did a mitzvah from the Torah, for sure. But it's like pending. It's pending completion until the Rosh comes on, and now it's like you get the whole mitzvah. It's very weird, I agree. Now, the Lubavitcher Rebbe,
I think what makes this mitzvah so unique is that the mitzvah of tefillin is really a reference of דברים האלה. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך,
Yeah.
והיו
All these words.
בעיניך הדברים האלה. So it's like they come from one place and they made into two mitzvot, but they're still connected. So
Yeah,
that's why
100%. 100%. That's a you say the mitzvah of the ot b'neinech tzotafot b'neinecha, not ot al yadecha. No, because you the Ashkenazim, but you didn't do you only did one mitzvah. It's only one mitzvah. You didn't do the yad. But look at the pasuk. Ukshatam leot al yadecha. I didn't do that. Okay, now listen to this. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, let's walk through it. We've never done by the way, whenever I mention the Lubavitcher Rebbe, you know I mention him a lot. I don't just listen to some guy on YouTube say respect. I'm talking about reading the Lubavitcher Rebbe inside in the Sikha. It's delicious, always delicious. We have to preface this and say the Chabad, they hold like us, like Sfaradim. Chabad makes only one beracha. Even though other Ashkenazim make two, they only make one beracha, just like us. You need to know this so you know where he's coming from. He's coming from our side of the pond, Lubavitch. Okay? So let's see what he says. Let's go through it. Aleph. B'minyan ha-mitzvot sheberesh halachot tefillin. If you look at the Rambam, when Rambam writes the mitzvot, we're on page 18. Katav Rambam, Aleph, liyot tefillin al rosh, bet, the kashanam al hayad. Rambam, here's the food. Let's pause this. Hold on. Can I hit a pause button? Hold on. This is pause? I don't know how to do this. I'm going to keep going. The Rambam, you heard what David just said? Look at Rambam's Sefer HaMitzvot. He says, there's a mitzvah to put the Rosh on. And the next thing he says is, there's also a mitzvah to put the Yad on. Out of order. Let's wait. I don't know how to pause this thing. You know how to do this? All right, so the people, we're live. All right, so people online, we'll take 1 minute to everyone get the food out. So blowing shofar is one mitzvah. I'm thinking about that also. Yes, it's spread out and you can't talk. So Mr. Dweck over here is asking a nice question. I had the same thought. Shofar, we have 30 sitting down, standing up, sitting down, hazara, and we always say, don't talk, but that's not halakha, right? But that's not halakha, that's like Kabbalah and Mitzorah. Really, if you just heard kashat, karat, you're good. You fulfilled it. That's why the ladies, when we look for the ladies, we don't blow 101 blacks for the ladies. So it's one mitzvah. Okay. You guys want to make plates?
They have to make Nesser-tefilin to add.
Yeah. Two.
So how much more so for us that we should make food for us?
The reason why, the only reason why they do that is because the lashon of the Gemara. Because the Gemara says, Hoser u'mevarech.
Yeah, I'm breaking these
The Gemara says, Hoser u'mevarech. Guys, take food. Let's take a 1 minute break. Guys, get food. Come on. Where's plates? Okay, so this hinges on Avi's asking why we only do one. So I'm going to go back and repeat the Gemara we learned 3 weeks ago. The Gemara says, if you talk, you hoser u'mevarech. You make another. What does that word mean? Hoser. You speak Hebrew. What is Hoser Mevarech? If you talk between the Yad and the Rosh, Hoser Mevarech. It means you repeat. So it says, if you didn't talk, you make one blessing. If you talk, you make two blessings. That's what the Gemara says. Hold on. If I talked, I make two blessings from
Two
when?
identical blessings or one now for the whole?
It doesn't say.
This is Choser, I think it's.
Yes, this is why the Ashkenaz makes sense. Again, guys, listen. The Gemara, while the plates come, the Gemara says the following thing: if you talk, you make two blessings. What does it mean if I talk, I make two blessings? I make two blessings from when? From after I talked? Ma. Oh, I don't know. Ask Abe. Is Abe here?
No.
Did he bring plate? Guys, take food. If I talk, I make two blessings from what point? From the point of my talking? Which means I already made a blessing. Do I make two blessings from now? Or does it mean if you talk, you make two blessings total, including the one you made? Ashkenazim will say, follow the words of the Gemara. If you talk, two things. Number one, if you talk, you make two blessings after you talk. And it says, Hoser Mevarech, you repeat. So, yeah, so you have to repeat the Mevarech you already made. Sparadim will say what? No, if you talk, you make two blessings. The first one you already made, and then one more. And Hoser Mevarech doesn't mean you repeat. It just means you have to make a new blessing. Which one makes more sense? We read the Rosh. The Rosh says his whole life he grew up like Sparadim, and he learned the Gemara, and he said, I'm just sorry, this Gemara reads like the Ashkenazim. And I agree, 100%. If you asked me what the halakha, I would say like the Ashkenazim, 100%.
More logical.
It fits into the words. And yeah. Okay, guys, no one's eating. What's going on here?
How we do it, man. The same first one.
That's what the Ashkenazim hold. The Ashkenazim hold, you repeat the one and you make another one. Oh, Al Mitzvah. So the Gemara does say the Berakah is Al Mitzvah. So that's not a mystery we have to solve. The Gemara says, what blessing do you make? Al Mitzvah Tefilin. So that's not a mystery for us. We know what the blessing is. We just don't know what it means. You make two blessings. When did I make two?
Don't know why. If you talk, it's like if you talk, you nullify your original beracha.
You broke it.
You broke it.
Yeah.
So,
By the way, what Moshe is saying also is true. A question on Sparadim.
What does that mean?
If you talk, you broke your blessing. Like, how do you justify not making lehaniach again? If you're a Sfaradi guy, how do you justify this?
So when I say you talk, you go back?
You got the whole thing all over again.
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
You broke it.
Is that the rule?
Yes.
It's Mills when I say you get to the
You
head.
can't talk in this one essay. They have said.
You got to go back to the whole thing.
Yeah, you broke it. So if you're a Sfaradi, yeah. So if you who asked this question? Who asked this question?
If you talk in between,
It's a good question. You're a Sfaradi guy. You talked after the yad. You broke it. Why are you not doing it again? You should say lehaniach all over again. Why is your lehaniach still kosher? We make it only al mitzvah. Why? And then we had a third question on
because you already did the mitzvah,
but you
and
broke
then you
it.
talk it after.
We
You
have-
talked after.
Third question we asked on the Sfaradim, and this I think is a very strong question. Where do we find that? Where else in the Torah do we find a beracha? Only if you mess up, you got to say this beracha. It's only if you mess up. Think about it logically. Hold on, let me ask my father this way. Al mitzvah tefillin. Wow, I would love to say this blessing. I never said this blessing before. Yeah, this is only if you mess up. Why do we institute blessings for mess ups? Where else in the Torah? Where? You always go there. Let me think this one in. If you didn't shake the lulav properly, you don't make another al mitzvah lulav. Then you make a whole new al mitzvah lulav. Oh, you got to say a new blessing. What another blessing? You'd say the same beracha. Imagine he didn't make a beracha on these green beans. And I said, guess what? Instead of ha'adama, now you get to say Baruch Olam HaBiriyah. You got a brand new blessing. Well, because you messed up. Congratulations. And that's why someone was there saying, Avi was saying, or someone, I want to mess up so I can say this blessing.
but I can explain.
Is there any other example in the whole Torah?
No, I don't know.
I only can think of one, and I asked Rabbi Adaro, and he wasn't sure. I only can think of one. I don't know the halakha, honestly. It's a mess up. It says it's avon. Remember, we learned this. It says you can't go to war if you talk in between.
How come you do it?
Oh, he's saying a lumdish spot. He's saying really you're supposed to. What he's saying is very lumdish. You have the same thing. It's very yeshivish what he's saying. Really, you're supposed to have both. It's not that you're supposed to have one and then you get a bonus. Really, you're supposed to have both. But if you have the first, it deducts the second one that you were supposed to do. That's what you're saying. Really, you need. It's very briskish type of a svara. He's saying.
It goes with what you said.
Really.
But the light in the world. If you stay the first,
Yes.
and you don't, then you mess up the whole reason why.
Yeah, it would make sense. I didn't see this anywhere. It's a nice shot. Really, you're supposed to have both blessings. If you said the first blessing and you didn't talk, your second blessing is eliminated. The need for this is eliminated. The hidush.
I think one way to look at it, this paradigm, or we said it's a very unique mitzvah. It's a one mitzvah made of two mitzvahs.
Yeah.
So I think that the Sephardim
Well,
hold that the power, ultimately, these two mitzvot, the power of their unity is one mitzvah, is, if you will, greater. That's why the one beracha covers both. Once you spoke,
I love it.
You lost that power, and now they tell you, okay, so
Well,
now
you-
you did just yad,
I love
now
it.
do the
So
rosh.
what I'm paraphrasing you to say is as follows: the sum of two together is greater than one plus one.
Exactly.
I love it. It's going to fit exactly into the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The sum, if you do it the right way, and you made one blessing on the pair, that's more powerful than making two separate blessings. 1 plus 1 equals 2. If you do it the right way, that's 3, let's say. That's a nice shot. It's going to fit into the... I want to share with you guys, Hachamim over here, my idea. I don't know this halakha, guys. I don't know. I'm being honest with you. I had only one thought.
What happens if he says if you don't tell him, you don't say the week, you only say the day?
So if you say it's about the Omer, the week and not the day.
Oh,
That's-
it's only on day 7.
It's
Only on day 7.
That's a great question. However, it's one mitzvah. If you hold that you need the weeks and the days, that guy holds it's one blessing. It's a nice idea. I'm not sure I'm into it. But let me tell you what I had in mind. I don't know the halakha. V'hanotad mimenu ba'esh tisrofu. I told this to you, Moshe. V'hanotad mimenu ba'esh tisrofu. Let's say Korban Pesach has to be eaten by midnight.
Mhm.
If you didn't eat it by midnight, you just violated a law from the Torah. However, it's a lav shnitak la'aseh. Very rare, right? In the Torah, there's something called a lav shnitak la'aseh. A lo ta'aseh, which is removed, you have a way out. If you burn it in the morning, you have removed the lo ta'aseh that you did. It's a way out. So you violated with I don't know I don't know how to say it in English. You violated the mitzvah. It's on your head, but you have something you can do to repair it. I asked Rabbi Adan, Rabbi, is there a beracha on notar? If I didn't eat the korban pesach or burn it by midnight, and I have the avon, in the morning when I go burn it, is there a blessing? It says in the mitzvah, "Ba'esh tisrofu." You should bless it. Asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'srof et korban. I think this is a great. It's my idea. I think it's a great idea. Itai, I want your opinion on
The
this.
mitzvah reads,
Not-
that you must eat it all the time, or the mitzvah tells you
It says,
what you eat.
"Lo totiru mimenu ad boker." The pasuk says, we know this because we read this in the holidays. Lo totiru mimenu ad boker. You know, remain no leftovers. V'hanotad mimenu ba'esh tisrofu. That's a command from the Torah. So when I do that commandment, do I make a blessing? Al sirifat hanotad, which I would not have made this blessing if I didn't violate. I don't know the answer. If that was the case, that would be an example. I have another example. I also don't know. A beracha on a divorce. Is there a beracha on a divorce? Asher kiddushanu. It says in the pasuk, "V'chatav la sefer kiritut." Asher kiddushanu v'chatav la sefer kiritut. If you don't get divorced, you don't get this mitzvah. There are stories of rabbis who got divorced and remarried their wives just so they could do the mitzvah of divorce. Because they are. Yes, he said that. And then they also to return it. Yeah. If you're a Kohen, don't do this.
So what if you say one word? Is that talking?
Yes.
So here's an issue.
This is,
So you read the Torah, but somewhere in the middle, you make a mistake. Not that you do it often, but you do. And you say the wrong word.
Yeah.
You can't go back to the beginning.
That's a great question. So the answer is, it depends if the mistake I made changes the meaning of the word, which is very rare. Honestly, if you look up, it would be nice if everyone paid attention to this law. It would make my life a lot easier. He's mentioning reading the Torah. If you look up the Shulchan Aruch about correcting the Torah reader, he said they say don't correct the guy unless it changes the meaning of the word. The Shulchan Aruch doesn't go to Sephardic schools. They kill you if you said one thing wrong.
If it changes.
That's what, when in doubt, kill the Baal Koreh. But it's a very humbling job. I'll tell you the truth. You learn how to take criticism. Okay, let's learn the Sikha from the Rebbe. So the Rebbe is saying as follows. When Rambam lists the order of mitzvot, first he says it's a mitzvah to put the Rosh. And then after that he says it's a mitzvah to put the Yad. What? It's out of order. Why are you saying the mitzvot out of order? Rambam. This is Rambam. All the commentaries ask on this Rambam, Sheikdim HaRambam kan, Tefilin shel Rosh, Tefilin shel Yad. Why'd you put the head before the hand? Also in the Sefer HaMitzvot, and also in Halachot Tefilin, in the Yad HaZakah. In both places, he says the Rosh before the Yad. This is the opposite of the Pasuk. Pasuk says, Ukshatam me'ot ayadecha v'hayu letotavot b'leinecha. So what are you doing? Huh? V'hayu letotavot. No, v'hayu is now. Okay? And so he asks, why did Rambam do this? First simple question from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Great question. I don't know why the Rambam does this. This wonder, is not only when he counts the mitzvot. Says the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but a lot of people don't read the Lubavitcher Rebbe. They only hear what people say. They don't know what a Gaon Olam this rabbi was. He was Gaon. He learned Rambam inside and out. Now he's going to prove to us. He says, go learn laws of Tefillin in Rambam. And I'm going to show you how every single time the opportunity comes up, Rosh comes before the Yad. Every single time. And he says as follows. I'm in the fourth paragraph on page 18. Every single time the Rosh comes first in the Rambam. Look at the beginning. He writes, Arba parashiyot elu, these four parashiyot, v'nikra'in tefillin, and they are called tefillin, u'manichin otan ala rosh, and you put them on your head, and you also put them on your hand, out of order. After that, look at Perek Bet. Look at Perek Bet of the Rambam. B'chtibata parashiyot, when he talks about writing the parashiyot of the tefillin. He says, Ke'etzad kodvin et tefillin shel rosh. How do you write tefillin shel rosh? And then afterwards, b'shel yad kodvin otam. And then he does it again, writing the tefillin parashiyot, rosh before the yad. Perek Gimel says it of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Go to Perek Gimel of the Rambam. Asiyat habatim, when he talks about making the boxes, the black boxes on the tefillin. Ke'etzad osin tefillin shel rosh. Again, rosh comes first. And then afterwards, tefillin shel yad. And so he says over here, there is an explanation why the Rambam is obsessed with Rosh before the Yad. The Sefer Safanat Pa'neach writes, there's a difference between the Rosh and the Yad. Which I said like 3-4 weeks ago, very briefly, when Rabbi Adal was with us upstairs. Tefillin shel Yad says, the mitzvah is only to tie it to your hand. Like the Pasuk says, once you tied it, you have fulfilled the tefillin. If you just tighten your tefillin shel Yad hard on the hand that it can't move, you have technically fulfilled the mitzvah, even with without the straps in the arm. You have fulfilled the mitzvah of tefillin shel Yad. Abal b'sherosh says the Safanat Paneach. But what's the mitzvah on the Rosh? It should be vehayu letotafot. They should be sitting between your eyes. It doesn't say you should put them between your eyes. It says they should be. I mean, their mitzvah is not one time to put it there. The mitzvah is they should always be in between your eyes. And therefore he says, the aleph, you know what this means, David? You know what this Rashi Tevot means? I'm in Gimel. The aleph, You know what it means?
Nafkamina.
Moshe. The Aleph and Nafkamina, one halachic difference. What is the difference between this? What I just said? I'll tell you halakha. The Ma'aseh. The Hashem Amru, Im Haniham Kodim, or Aboket, if you put tefillin before Alot HaShahar, before Amud HaShahar, way before the Zman of tefillin, you put it on in the nighttime, now what? You put it on too early. Kishiyagia Zemanan, when it comes time for the Zman tefillin, Mimashmish Mahen, you have to move them around and put them back in their place. Umbarech Alehen, and you make a blessing. If you made the blessing beforehand, you put it at nighttime. It's not kosher. Dezerak Ashil Yad. You only have to move around the yad. You don't have to touch the rosh.
Didn't we learn that you can put tefillin at night?
Very good, but the rabbi said we don't put tefillin at night. The sham hanahahu mitzvah. On the yad, the mitzvah is to put it, not that it should be there. Which means, if a monkey came down from Shemayim and tied it onto your hand, onto your arm, it might be an issue. That's actually a very complicated question. You have to tie it. Which hand do you tie the tefillin with? Your right hand. Why? The tying is the mitzvah. The left hand is just sitting there. The mitzvah is the tying. Also, but you think about it like this. The tying is, the ma'aseh is with the right hand. Which hand, if you told someone, which arm are you doing the mitzvah with? You just say, my left arm. No, you're doing it with your right arm.
So
you're tying the tefillin.
Let's say a person is not able to tie his own tefillin.
That's a great question. We'll add it to the list. This koach gabra, the whole thing.
So all the Chabadniks, when they type people.
So if it's koach, whenever there's a question in the shul, you can't get away. There's something called koach gabra. Koach gabra means it has to be a person's koach. Let's leave it at that for now, and then we'll get into later.
So the lefties do it opposite.
Yeah, they do it opposite, but your power hand is the tire, not the one that gets tied. That's what's going on. By the way, that.
The original intent of tefillin was to be worn all day long.
Yes.
So that they only wear the rosh?
No, the rosh, we're going to get there. The rosh needs the yad. Hold on. We'll get there in 1 second. My dad's always on the money. By the way, I'll tell you a completely random halakha that's tied to this. No pun intended. The halakha is when you go to the bathroom, it says in Shulchan Aruch, you should try if you have dexterity to clean up with your left hand. Why? Because your right hand ties the tefillin. But my left hand wears the tefillin. It's the tying that's the mitzvah. Ukshadam. It's the tying that's the mitzvah. Okay? Let's move on. Imken b'shel rosh hadam mitzvah she'emunachim. The mitzvah on the head is just that it should be sitting there. Not that you have to actually put it. The only way it gets there is by being put there. But the mitzvah is the rosh has to be on it. V'hayu. It should be there. V'yesh lomad. Look at the pasuk, says the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Tie it as a sign on your hand. And they should be sitting between your eyes.
One is proactive.
And one is, yes, exactly.
It makes sense for the boss.
Exactly.
But we said the English one is present progressive. It's just there.
Right.
They should be.
And the other one is
That explains the both sides.
It's beautiful. He's going to get deeper. He's going to get even deeper. When it comes to the hand, we care about the time. The rosh is just, it should be there. The Rambam's words is liyot tefillin al rosh. Tefillin should be on the head. Not that they should be tied to the head. It should be on the head. This difference we just said between the rosh and the yad, is not only when it comes to the mitzvah actuality, if it's an action mitzvah to tie, or it's just a passive, also in the time you do the mitzvah. Since the yad, the hand, the mitzvah is the tying, or hanaha, or placing it, like I said a few weeks ago. When, they always say, mitzvah every second, if you write to CC, every second, your bank account. What about tefillin? Mitzvah every second, says the Lubavitcher Rebbe. No, it depends. The hand mitzvah is just to tie it. Once you tied it, if you finish the mitzvah.
Then why is it called
Lehaniach. That's the mitzvah, lehaniach, to put it on.
Right.
Oh, it should be like short. Great question. Let's get into that. Very good. We have to add that to the list too. You got to remind me of these things. We'll add them all to the list.
Because you take the
You put it on. But he's saying the lashon pasuk is ukshartam leot. Mordechai, ukshartam.
You kosher, but ultimately you maniach.
Hold on, guys. Good question. I love the question. I want to talk about it. Let's go first. מה שאין כן בתפילין של ראש, שהמצווה היא שיהיו מונחים על ראשו, the מצווה על ראש, they should be sitting there, נמצא דכל רגע ורגע שהוא לבוש מקיים מצווה, says Lubavitcher Rebbe, every second the rosh is on your head, cha-ching, 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 mitzvah, mitzvah, mitzvah. The yad, 1 second is a mitzvah. That's it. Only the second you tied it. The rosh, and it's a good thing they're separate mitzvot. The rosh, mitzvah every single second. It's v'hayu b'nenecha. Interesting.
You can't take off the hand if you don't.
You can't take off the hand.
Right.
You need the set. Yeah, so the yad, we're getting here also. The yad is stuck. The yad is required to service the rosh almost in a way. We'll get there in a second. Very good.
Also, the yad is Zratam ot al yodecha. So the kshira is you start and you're done. But the ot is always there. You do
the ot is there. V'hayu l'totafot, it should be
Yeah, but you benefit from the ot.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to throw it off topic. But
Yeah.
Is that symbolic? That, in other words, the heart is something you have to.
Yes, it's symbolic, Avi. This is where we're going. You're always on the ball. We're getting here. This is Lubavitcher Rebbe. Of course, we're getting there. He says, look at the pasuk. We're on page 19. The oil should never leave your head. It's talking about tefillin shel rosh. Okay. ואין זה סתירה למה שכותב הרמב"ם שמשפטן ללבשן כל היום. Oh, Rambam says, what do you mean? It's a mitzvah to wear tefillin all day long, in plural. You just said the yad is not a mitzvah all day long. It's just 1 second. זה כאי גמא של yad. It is a mitzvah, like Itai is saying. You need the yad all day long. Not for the yad, though. You need it for the rosh. כי זה שצריך להיות לבוש גם בשביל יד כל הזמן, הוא רק לפי שכל זמן שבעיניך יהיו שתיים. It says, והיו לתותפות בעיניך, plural, it should be a pair between your eyes, which means the rosh is not allowed to be on your head if there's no yad, unless you have no yad. If you have a yad, you can't put the rosh on without the yad. And so the rosh has to be totafot. And so I need the yad. And so the yad is almost mandatory just so I can fulfill the rosh. Okay? Now let's go forward. The apizeh, according to this, our tosafot. If you talk between tefillah and tefillah, between each tefillin, if you talk, it's a sin in your hand. The ze'urak b'tefillin. And tosafot says, what about other mitzvot? Shechita. What if I talk between slaughtering birds? What if I talk between a lot of different things? Says tosafot, no. Tefillin is different. Mitzvah ahatin. It's one mitzvah. One mitzvah or it's two mitzvot? What are you talking about? We say straight out it's two mitzvot. Is it one or two? The answer is we're talking if this is what we're getting, guys. It's both. Illa. Dekan latzal omar al anaha v'shem latzal omar shiyamunach kilomar zeh shenechshabot l'shtei mitzvot. This that we counted as two separate mitzvot. I know the fee shetivit shel yad halukim b'tefillin shel rosh. They're totally different mitzvot. Ki mitzvatan hi ma'aseh hanaha. By the yad, the mitzvah is to put it on, or akishira, or the tying, as he says. But the rosh is munah, that it should be there. And so therefore, yes, it's mitzvah that it should be there. You need the yad because you need the rosh. It's one mitzvah, it's two mitzvah, it's both. Alpi hanes kala'il, according to all this that we said. Yesh leba'er hatam she'arambam hektim b'chol pam tefillin shel rosh shel yad. Now we can understand why every step of the way the Rambam puts the rosh always before the yad, out of order. Why? The kadima zuhi behetem letochano shel kelut sefer ahava. The whole purpose of sefer ahava, which is in the Yad HaZakah, the first sefer where the Rambam writes halachot tefillah, halachot tefillin, halachot mezuzah, halachot shema, halachot Torah, halachot teshuvah. This is all in the Sefer Ahava. The Rambam called the Sefer Ahava love. If you see, go look at the Rambam, it says Ahava. That's a section of the Sefer. Shekolel b'lashon Rambam. Why do you call the Sefer love? Hamitzvot shehem tedirot, constant mitzvot. Rambam says, why did I call this book love? There are constant mitzvot shenestavino b'hem that we have to do kedel le'ehov ha'makom, to love Hashem. And to always remember him. Rambam says,
It's also said Kadir v'Shem.
Hadid, very good. Rambam says these are the mitzvot, they are tadirot, they're constant. Okay. So the first thing is tefillin shalosh. She mitzvah timidit. It's a mitzvah every second, as we said. The Safra Panech says every second of tefillin is a mitzvah. So there's no more tadir than this. Every second is a mitzvah. The yad is less mitzvah. You only get one mitzvah. And so this is a book of tadir. Rambam wants to put the more frequent laws first and the less frequent laws second. We can say even further. Look at all the mitzvot in Sefer Ahava, they all follow this pattern. And now we can look at Sefer Ahava. When you go home, look it up on Sefaria or take it out and say, why does Rambam put the laws in these orders? He says, it's an order of frequency of the mitzvot. The whole point of Sefer Ahava, this section of Rambam, it goes in order of frequency. In the beginning of the book, first comes the laws of Shema, and then the laws of Tefillah. Shema is twice every single day, you have to do it. Tefillah is to pray once a day. You have to pray once a day, and you have to Shema twice a day. After we talk about the speech mitzvot, the praying mitzvot of our words, now we talk about the actionable mitzvot. We start with tefillin. And the hatam, we put tefillin on one time. Even if you wear it all day long, you only put it on one time. And then after that, we bring mezuzah and sefer Torah. Why? Because they're the same thing. The same scrolls inside of tefillin is the same scroll inside of the mezuzah and inside a Torah. So he brings them all together. Okay. And that's why he brings mezuzah. He brings mezuzah and Torah. Mezuzah is always on your door. And he said afterwards, halachot sisit. Why? Sisit is not like tefillin because you only do sisit if you happen to have a garment of 4 corners. You don't have to buy a garment of 4 corners from the Torah. You have one. And then after that, halachot berachot. From the Torah, you only have to make bekat hamazon berachot. Only one berachah from the Torah, not the rest of them. And so therefore, if you look at the whole Sefer Ahava, he goes in order of frequency. That's why Rambam puts the Rosh always before the Yad, because the Rosh is the mitzvah every single second. Now, V'yesh lehosif on Vav. We're on Vav. We'll wrap up, guys. I know everyone's tired. Let's wrap up with the last point from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. V'yesh lehosif bevi'ud ha'evdel. We have to look at this al pi pinimiyot ha'inyanim. Pinimiyot means the Kabbalistic Hasidish, the Kabbalistic understanding. There has to be a deeper understanding between Yad and Rosh. So wake up for this. This is a good one. Ready? Says Lubavitcher Rebbe. Ha'chiluk ha'pinimi ben Yad veRosh. What is the difference in Pinimiyot, in Kabbalah, between the Yad and the Rosh? You put the Yad on your arm by your heart. Moreh al avodat hamidot is teaching you to overcome your midot, your urges, your heart's desires. To serve Hashem, to make that heart of yours that wants to do all sorts of things, strap down. You strap it down. That's why it's uksatam. You have to tie your heart down. Your heart wants all sorts of things that are not good for you. You have to tie it down and say, no, I serve Hashem. It has to be, it's supposed to be pointing to the heart, And the tefillin sherosh, and on the muscle, on the power. Tefillin sherosh is for the moach, is for the brain, is for the intellect. To serve Hashem with your neshama. Your neshama is in your brain, is in here. To serve Hashem with your intellect. This is the most beautiful piece. Now listen to this piece, guys. This is the most beautiful piece from the Rebbe. This is the reason why haparashiyot of the Tefillin Shel Yad are different than the Rosh. We will learn this Gemara B'ezrat Hashem. It's on my list. In your box of the Yad, how many scrolls are there? How many parashiyot are there?
4.
There are 4 parashiyot. Written on how many pieces of parchment?
1.
1.
4 parashiyot, 1 piece of parchment.
On your head, how many parashiyot? 4. on each one on its own compartment. So if you have 3 lines in Tefillin Shalosh, why? There are really 4 boxes. If you take your fingers, pull them apart, they should come apart. Don't do it, but you can pull them apart. And actually, I spoke with Neria, the Sofer. I want to bring a sample. There are 4 compartments inside the Rosh, each with its own parasha. Okay, we'll do this Gemara. Why?
It's the same parashiyot.
Same parashiyot.
But here is separated.
Why? Why is it this way?
Different places.
Huh? Same parashiyot.
It's more identical because the brain
Identical
has
parashiyot.
different.
Let's see.
The front lobe.
Let's see. You ready? That's good, but it's 3, no? Cerebellum, cerebellum, and the no, 3 in school they taught us. Where's the 4th one?
I didn't pay
The
attention.
Jewish brain. So check this out. You ready? This is beautiful from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Lubavitcher Rebbe says as follows. David, look at the words inside. It's unbelievable. He says as follows. When it comes to intellect, using your intellect, not your emotions, your intellect, you're able to compartmentalize your intellect, your decision making. Slow down, organize your mind. You can organize your thoughts, make a plan of action, and you can be beseder into different boxes. However, when it comes to feelings, emotions, desires, you're a mess. They're not organized at all. They're all mumbled jumbled into one box. Psychologically, this is beautiful about Lubavitcher Rebbe. And so therefore, why is your heart, the tefillin of the heart, one pirasha? Because all your midot are jumbled up into one huge mess, one huge challenge down there. But in your brain, you have the ability to divide and conquer. As men, we know this. Look at our wives. Our wives are this, right? We're trying to use our brains and use our brains to be smart and make a plan. Says the Lubavitcher Rebbe, when it comes to the midot, it's above understanding. And there's a very Hasidic thing. Midot, passion, it's very deep. It doesn't always make sense, which is why we have a hard time speaking our emotions. We need to go to therapists and sit on a couch for 2 hours just to see what's bothering us. The guy, what's bothering you? No one can answer that question. Why? It's too deep. It's too messy. We can't organize it. Only if we can get the brain to conquer the heart and sort of put the heart on a leash, the leash of the tefillin, we can get those desires in order. Then we can organize our heart. You need the Rosh, has to organize the Yad. And that's why mind over matter is a very Jewish mind over heart. We go by our mind. They said, follow your heart. No, don't follow your heart. That's not Jewish. Don't follow your heart. Control your heart with your brain. You tell your heart what it should want. It doesn't go the other way around. The Rosh is very compartmentalized. I have my intellect in order. Now, according to this, we can explain. Hachiluk, then the Yad and the Rosh, that the Yad is only a mitzvah to tie it down one time, but the head is a mitzvah to just leave it there, but all the time. Very different. Let's see. When it comes to your passions and your emotions and your desires, a normal person, it's very hard for a normal guy to suddenly take his passions and give them over to Hashem and say, I no longer want all these things that I want, my body wants. I'm only yours, Hashem. It's very hard for a normal person to strap themselves down like this. The tzaddikim dafka libam b'shutam. Only a tzaddik has his heart in his possession. Everyone else, their heart's running wild. V'lachin en misvat tifin shel yad. The mitzvah of the yad, which is tying down your emotions, the mitzvah is not shimunah. It should just be. We don't want it to just be. Your desires to just be there. We want to tie our heart down and get a hold on it, get a control of it. Zot omeret. This means I know you can't do it on your own. You can't just overnight say, I don't want the girl, I don't want the not kosher food, I don't want to cheat in business. You can't do this overnight. It's too hard. Get it. Tie it down. Step 1, Tie it down. Step number 1, tie it down. Force it with a leash. Control yourself. Just don't do these things. You want to feel these things and think these things? Think it. Don't do it, which means that feeling, I'm tying you down, heart. That's what you have in mind in the morning for a normal guy.
The answer lies in the heart.
It's in the heart, absolutely. In the kidneys and in the heart. The kidneys also is another place. Yeah. Okay.
If you put your kilayot before your moach, you get katlam, and then you are through.
You're nothing.
If you put your moach,
Melech. You're melech. Beautiful. Masha'enkin. When it comes to your intellect, you can control your intellect if you focus. Every Jewish person has the power to control what they focus on with their intellect. You can think about and meditate and study anything you want to study and learn and grow. The mitzvah of the head just has to be there. Always. You always have to have your head, your thoughts, your studying on Hashem. You can't control your heart. You can control what you read. Take out the book and study every single day. So you can do this every single day. It has to be there. Not to tie it one time. Always should be on your head. In order to fulfill the mitzvah of the Rosh, you can't only put the Rosh on. The Rosh alone saying, I'm an intellectual Jew. I study. Not enough. It doesn't work this way. You can't skip step 1. You have to tie down your heart that it doesn't act. You don't act like a wild animal. And then you work on your thoughts. That's the way this works. If you want to do the intellectual work the right way, you have to first tie yourself down. And so a guy says, why am I not growing? Control yourself. Don't go in the restaurant that you're not supposed to. And then we'll talk about and study why you shouldn't. That's how it works. Step 1, tie it down. If you don't control how you act, you're going to mess up your brain. It's not going to work. It's going to be a mess. Between Yad and the Rosh. This is the difference. When you first start tefillin in any service of Hashem, if your sechel, if your moach, if your intellect is only outwardly, if you don't connect the leash tying down your heart to the work in your head, they're two separate things. I act the way I want to act, and I also study Judaism and I study Torah. You're talking between the Yad and the Rosh. You're treating them as two separate mitzvot. They're not two mitzvot. They are two mitzvot, but they're one mitzvah. You can't do one without the other. You're treating them like the two separate mitzvot. You're talking in between. That means you think your brain and your heart are not related. That's not the way this works. You can't talk. That's why it says you're not allowed to talk. Only this mitzvah. You're not allowed to talk in between. You always have to work on your brain. It should be always there. But controlling your desires, that's once in a while when you feel an urge, you tie it single day. It's not every second. You have to control yourself. You use your head to say, tie down, and then we'll learn. Tie down, and then we'll learn. That's how it goes. You have, yeah. Once you do this process, and you tie down the yad, the heart, and then you work on the intellect and study and learn, what you're going to find is, soon it's going to be instant. You're going to be all brain. You're going to be no heart. Your desires are going to go away. If you follow, it's on the other side. If you follow your desires, you're not going to get to level 2. If you tie it down and you force yourself to act Jewish and you study, you will get to a point where it's immediate. There is no more need to tie down. It's mamash one mitzvah. no talking, no interruptions, no gesturing, straight to the intellect. Ve'az tefilin shel yad u'tefilin shel rosh hem mitzvah achat. If you really do the job the right way, they're one mitzvah. It's only two mitzvot when you're having a hard time or in the beginning. The goal is to bring it to one mitzvah. Your passions will automatically be subjected to what your brain says you should be subject to. Any time it's between your head, it's going to be a set, which means soon your heart and your mind will be perfect synchronization. So says the Lubavitcher Rebbe. You know why this mitzvah is so different? This is a mitzvah talking about how you go about serving Hashem and controlling yourself in this world. That's why the rabbi said, don't talk. Don't treat the heart, which is the actions, differently than when you're in the shul. Don't act one way in work. And then, oh, time for shul. Now I go to shul. You're two separate people. You got to make them combined. You got to make them one mitzvah. The Rosh needs the Yad. It has to be a pair. If you just have the intellect, just the Rosh, with no Yad, it's not a set. You don't have Behayu. Yes. Yeah.
We put the head first and then.
No, we put the Yad first because we're saying this is the way you do it. This is the way you grow. First, control the way you act, even if you don't like it. Then you study. That's the way you grow. So you have, no, the Yad has to go first. But you have,
The head first.
oh, he's speaking
הראש
now.
מוביל אותך בהחלטות שלך. אתה קושר את העצה, אתה מגדיר את עצמך, ואז הראש מוביל אותך בכיוון הנכון.
Yeah.
The other four senses are all
It's spiritual, especially smelling. So now,
That's why it's 4 and 1.
But you said the Lubavitcher
Very
Rebbe
good.
put that on.
he likes what you just said. 4 parashiyot, 1 parasha. Now, just to wrap up, because it's late, I know it's late, guys, but I really wanted to do this shot. Just to wrap up, we said you can't talk between the Yad and the Rosh. Why can't you talk? Because you're breaking the system over here. You're supposed to tie it and then study, not tie it, go about your day, and I'm going to study. No, it's got to be one mitzvah. But if you spoke and you answered Kaddish or Kedusha, you don't have to repeat it. Why? My opinion? At least you're involved. You're on the derech. You're involved in Judaism of some sort. Yes, you're not following the program the right way, but at least you're involved. You're studying Humash during Gemara class. You're doing the wrong thing, but you're in the program. That, to me, is not called separating the heart from the mind. Maybe that's why if you answer Kaddish, you don't have to repeat it. You shouldn't have done that, but you're on the program. At least you're doing Jewish things. You're still involving the head. You don't have to repeat itself. And so therefore, I think this is a beautiful shot by the Lubavitcher Rebbe and explains, it answers all our questions. What is this about? 1 mitzvah, 2 mitzvah? He's saying over here exactly what it is. It's every single day from when we're 13 years old. We say, this is how I go about succeeding as a Jew. I tie it down, and then right away, I get to work with no separation. And if we do this, we'll end up instant. No more desires. Instant. It'll go away. It'll be all intelligence. That's the end of this topic. Next week, B'ezrat Hashem, a new one.